We are celebrating Pet Poison Prevention Month here at Animal Ark. I am Dr. Rebecca Weaver, and I have a lot of experience with poisons and toxins as I did do critical care for, gosh, almost 12 years before I went to general. So there are a lot of plants and poisons that you need to avoid. In general, any plants in your house with a kitty cat is probably not a great idea. And any plants around a bird is definitely not a good idea because those species typically are a little bit more sensitive to the toxins. So we're going to kind of handle some main ones. What I wanted to do is actually show you, if you go to and you just Google poisonous plants, but ASPCA, that is your National Poison Control Center. It will provide you a huge list of not only all the plants that are toxic, but what they look like. So a general good idea is with any animal that has ingested a plant is to immediately get it out of their mouth, to keep the plant, what they ate, so the doctor is aware of what they ate. Was it the leaf, the stem, the shrub part of it? And rinse their mouth out with water. And so that is very important because a lot of plant toxins stay in their mucosa membrane for a while. And so you, by rinsing the mouth out, can actually remove some of the toxins. And so the first one is surprising because we've listed aloe vera, and people say, oh, I take aloe vera for me. Can I give it to my animal? Well, it actually does cause issues, and so it will disrupt water and electrolyte imbalance in your large intestines. So you could actually end up with anorexia, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain. I think the most I see is salivation, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea. But aloe is not a good idea with animals. The next one is lilies, so especially peace lilies. You never want to have a peace lily in your house, pretty much. They carry high levels of calcium and things that are just not healthy for the animals. So with your peace lilies, they can actually go into acute renal failure and we cannot save them. So that's why it's that important to never have a peace lily or really any lilies around your cats or around your dogs for that matter. The next one is a controlled substance, so we hope you're not around it, but situations happen, and so it is marijuana. There's a lot of debate and controversy over the marijuana and CBD and all that. Research is still going on in regards to that. Your veterinary medical industry is up to date on cannabinoids and their usage and dosing and all that good stuff. But for the most part, marijuana is highly toxic to animals. So they can have a very small amount and have very severe consequences, including death. They can go into seizures, drunkenness, stumbling, dilated eyes, low heart rate, all that kind of thing. And so marijuana is nothing that you want to take lightly. If they ever do get exposed, seek veterinary care immediately. We do not care what you do in your business. It is not our job to report anything to anyone. We don't care. We just want you to be honest with us as to what the animal got in so we can best help the animal, but no one's going to call anyone or get you in trouble. So don't worry about that. Just be honest with what the animal got into. Of course, tulip bulbs, azaleas, rhododendrons, castor beans, oleander. So a lot of your things out in your yard, absolutely. Oleander is probably the most toxic of any of it. But certainly you do not want them ingesting those items. They can all cause GI irritation, drooling, depression, CNS depression, convulsions, cardiac abnormalities. So those can actually cause death as well. Now, amaryllis is popular around Easter, chrysanthemum, English ivy, and really all of your ivies, which is surprising to me because they seem so benign, but your ivies you do not want to have around any pets because they do cause GI irritation, especially in birds. And a lot of times what happens is they will ingest small amounts of this daily, and then it becomes a cumulative effect, and then they really can have some negative consequences and some true trouble with ulcerations and things like that happening if they've kind of ingested those over time. And for the most part, that's really what you'll be seeing, is that these animals will kind of take a little nibble this day, maybe another nibble that day. So that's where I say it's just better if you have all your plants up and at 'em, that you actually pay attention to what you have in your house. And if somebody gifts you a plant like a poinsettia or a lily, you either gift it to someone else, tell them thank you, or actually just keep it completely away from your pets and everything. With your IVs, yes, so most of that is anorexia, tremors, GI irritation, hypersalivation, all that good stuff. The next one is sago palms, which is very popular in Florida, but they're getting more and more popular in North Carolina. Sago palms is probably the most toxic in dogs. It can be fatal, and it causes seizure, and they go into liver failure that you cannot reverse. So sago palm is something you do want to be familiar with. Even the seeds that drop from the sago palms are poisonous. That's what you do not want them to ingest. The actual plant of the sago palm is less toxic than the nuts that will drop off from that plant. Okay, then autumn crocus, that is a bad one. That actually does oral irritation, bloody vomiting, diarrhea, shock, multi-organ damage, and bone marrow suppression. So that's one you definitely want to avoid in your house. We've gone over peace lilies. The other thing I do want to cover also is oak trees. So people don't realize oak trees, the nuts off of those are actually toxic and cause liver failure. For some reason, dogs love to eat these. So I always say any nut that falls off a tree is not a good idea for your animal to eat anyway, because the shell is going to do damage, and most nuts are toxic when you're talking about a plant. Okay, so that's one. And I know that Dr. Burton had also covered macadamia nuts, because that's a big toxicity in dogs. And any animal really. So really any nut from a tree is not a good idea to allow them to continue to do that. You want to try to avoid them from eating those. Okay, and then the last one we have, which is a big one, is mushrooms. And so mushrooms, obviously there's many different species, many different types. So it really depends on the type. Of course, there's the death cap mushroom. That's going to be your most toxic and fatal. These guys typically, most of the time it is going to be dogs that are out in the yard rooting around, and then they've eaten mushroom. And then what you'll see is they'll actually come in with some GI signs, sometimes stumbling, salivation, tremors, and the onset can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 3 days. And so I guess it really depends on the type of mushroom they eat, the amount, and all that. But that's another, especially with sago palm and mushrooms, one of the first treatments a veterinarian will do is flush the mouth out dramatically. So once again, like I said, anytime with exposure, save what they ingested if you can. Even if you don't know what it is, just bring it in, and the doctor we can look it up and identify what the plant is, or try to identify it for you. And then poison control, if it's after hours, that's always a good place to start. Their website, the ASPCA Poison Control List of Plants. They're also available to talk to you. There is a fee involved, but a lot of times if they truly ingested something toxic, we are absolutely going to be calling them, getting a case number started so that we get the latest, greatest information from you. We know with the amount ingested of the toxin, how long we need to treat, what we need to treat with. So they actually direct us, and they are very good. I have never had a complaint about them in the 20 years I've dealt with them. Okay, so I hope this was beneficial to you, and always, always, always you can call us. We're always available to speak to you. We have highly educated staff here that if a doctor is not available, they're